Hi all my patrons, it's good to see you here. Thank you very much for your continued support. I really appreciate. So as the new year starts, we were working on the left hand technique, left hand dexterity. And I thought it would be good to have a strong review of our basic techniques, because that's something that we always have to come back no matter what level we're in, because one of those we need to have a basics working well in order to master the other more advanced technique. Now in the next 5 weeks we're going to work on our right hand technique. I'll be using Sevcik bow technique book, op.2, the first chapter, number 1 and number 2. I will break down into 5 sessions depending on what technique, what part of bow we're working, but we are solemnly concentrating on the right hand technique. Now let's start reviewing our bow grip. Bow grip in general, see if you can have all fingers somewhat curved, including pinky and the thumb. Imagine yourself when you're just relaxing your hand, our natural hand is somewhat curved like this, and thumb also. It's not this or that one. So we're trying to reproduce whatever the most natural our hand shape is, being able to curve a little whenever we want. Yeah. So from this one, see if you can bring your thumb a little closer to the 2 middle fingers. This 2 one. Yeah. So that's basically our basic hand positions. And then see if you can stretch a little between, spacing a little between index and middle finger, and tiny bit between ring finger and the pinky, and that's basically it. Again, just shake off natural hand curve position, bring your thumb between these 2 middle fingers, middle finger and ring finger, and this is basically what it is, and space out a bit, bringing the index finger a little away, pinky tiny bit away, to gain a little more control, and that's a good start. Now remember these 3 fingers being closed. Now what we are going to do, when you look at the bow, there's a frog here, there's a little leather part, this is where the thumb goes. And then have it curved, and again bring your 2 middle fingers. Remember this one? So we're gonna bring thumb here, curved, between these 2 black leather part and the frog. You don't have to go through, just resting a little on the corner of your nail, like that. That. Make sure it does not go through, but just resting it. Then 2 middle fingers. Feel free to go a little deeper in. You don't want to hold it too much at the end because it's hard to control. Go deeper in. And then now index finger a little more spaced out, and then try to wrap it all the way to this finger joint. And that's why you have this part, so that we don't slip. You don't necessarily have to hold it, especially for small hands, but you need to have a little grip with this part of the joint. So you want to create kind of hook like that, yeah? So again, thumb, 2 middle fingers, and a little hook, and a little space between index finger and the middle finger. It's easier when you place the bow on the string. Now, the pinky, since it's the shortest guy from the all, try to put it a little in the backward. Try not to compete with the others try to place by placing that about same length. It's just not gonna happen. Put the pinky a little backwards like this. There's an octagonal shape most of the bow, and then see if you can have it sit a little at the end. It's important that the pinky rests at the tip of the fingertip, because the pinky has very little function, but one of the most function is balancing the bow like this. In order to do that, it's easier when you place it at the end of or tip of the fingertip, because if you do this, it's much harder. You have to press it with much more effort. So try to curve it and a little in the back so that you can press it. So to check, see whether the thumb is curved or fingers somewhat curved. Now once you're done, then you place in the middle bow. Now, at the very first one, it suggests we work at the tip, middle, then the frog. In my opinion, it's better to start in the middle, then go to the tip, then frog at the end, in the order of the easiest to the hardest. That way our body always have a habit of working in a relaxed way. If you start the hardest one first, the most uncomfortable one first, our body might get tense, and the danger of being always in tension is we might accept it as a norm, and that's what we call a bad habit. So try to place in the middle bow like that. Even though the Sevcik suggests we start on the G string first, start on the A string or D string in the middle string so that we get help of the gravity. It's a little more closer to horizontal, D string or A string. Then go to the E or G string, the outer string. So start middle string, A or D string. Let's start from A. You can hold the violin on the side of the here on the ribs, or you can hold it lift up, but I find it easier when you hold that one so that we can concentrate on the bow stroke. So now you go just very short A string. I'm moving my arm just like that. So just moving forearm down and up, but very short. And then now D string, place it, short one. If you want to stay on the string, that's fine too. Just short. Then A again. Very short one. You want to have a feeling of the arm resting on the string, not holding it. Then now lower your right elbow a tiny bit. Now go E string. Short bow. Now raise your right elbow a bit. Now you're on the E string. Because the bridge is curved, you have to adjust the right elbow height depending what string it is. That's what we're trying to do. A. Now raise it again. I know it may feel easy, but I need to not skip this spot because it's important for the right elbow to understand the different degrees of right elbow height. Remember, our brain learns differently than our brain. Our muscle learns differently than our brain. Muscle just need a little repetition to adapt it as a norm. Give it a little time, a couple times, and then raise your elbow a little more and the G string. If you feel comfortable, you can lift up and place again. And then feel. Or you can just be on the string. Have a feeling of resting it. Then you go to the tip. Now here to the tip, this part will be using a little of the wrist. So here, place at the tip, and then see if you can lower the wrist down and up, down and up. Just a little exercise. So basically when you go down, wrist will go down. When you go up bow, wrist come up. So let's start A string, down bow, up, down, up. Now raise elbow, D string, wrist down, wrist up, wrist down, wrist up. Let's go back to A, elbow again, wrist down, wrist up. Now we're going to lower our elbow even more, E string, wrist down, wrist up, wrist down, wrist up. Elbow a little higher, A string again, reviewing, elbow a little higher, D string. Now elbow even higher, wrist goes down still, at the down bow and up bow, and so on like that. So the key is this: start always in the middle string and then go to the outer string using the other middle string to go through, just to teach the different degrees of right elbow height. And now in the middle bow we use more forearm. Now at the tip we use more wrist, going down at down bow, up and up bow. Now frog is a little harder. So now the frog we have to raise elbow a little higher to make the bow light, and the wrist has to be raised already, because if you don't, it's just too heavy. So we have to raise the wrist so that the bow is not too heavy. And from there, we're going to use a slight bow. A. Here actually we're using a little forearm as well as the upper arm, then the wrist and the finger joint. All parts are moving very little, but all of them are moving. Down bow, elbow higher. D. Then A string again. Here it's important the pink is curved, the thumb is curved as well. A. Now then go E, then elbow higher, now elbow high again, then raise it again. And that's our first step. Now, one does not have to go every single step, but it's important when you do, you have to give absolute 100% attention to every single motion. That's a nice thing when you work on one specific technique at a time, such as right hand technique. Yeah, I hope this gave you a good review, and thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in our next video. Bye bye.